So I've got something a little bit new to try out here on this channel. It's story time. It's about the day I almost died at Castaway Cay.
Dead man tell no tale.
The beginning for me, as far as Disney is concerned, goes back as far as I can remember, really. Some of my earliest memories are laying on the floor at my grandparents' house, and they would fire up this big wood paneled television. And this was long before the days of cable TV or satellite, nothing really like that. This is the early 70s. But my grandfather had a big 50-foot antenna on the side of his house, and it was attached to like the side and the chimney, and he had this motorized contraption that was like a dial, and you would turn it, and it was a motor that would then reorient the antenna up on the tower to point to a channel that would have what you wanted to watch. And for my brother and I, that was always the wonderful world of Disney. And it's so linked in my mind of growing up, memories of my grandparents, of my uncles and aunts and everyone kind of getting together, and they were cooking, or the bunch of guys were downstairs and they were playing pool. My grandfather had a pool table in the basement and darts, and we spent hours and hours playing that, and all other stuff. But on Sunday nights, very traditional to have dinner with your parents, grandparents, in my case. Disney has been in all of my memories, but on this one day, I thought I would actually die at Disney. And yeah, it's a scary story, but here it is. If we go back to about 2011, a very, very good friend of ours approached us and said, hey, we're planning a trip to Walt Disney World. Would you like to join us? And at that time, Michelle was about 6 years old, and we're like, yes. And he goes, well, don't worry, like, we're not going to go right away. Like, we'll just start planning it and we'll see how it goes. I really got into planning this vacation for my daughter, and it was this incredible, I think, incredible vacation. So we're planning this trip, and we're staying at the boardwalk, and then we're going to Animal Kingdom Lodge. And there's one part of it that I was a little hesitant. At first I was actually said no, and that was the in-between staying at these two different resorts. We would go on a 4-day cruise on the Disney Dream. Now, there's one reason why I didn't want to do that, and that was going back to our honeymoon. So Shar and I, for our honeymoon, we came to Florida. It's, you know, it's our second home kind of thing. And we we went to Disney and Universal, and we did all that. That was in 1993. And then after a while, we said, okay, let's go on an adventure. So we just got in our car, we had a car rental, and we drove down to Key West. And it was fantastic. We had a great time. We stayed in these little resorts all along the way, these little motels on that whole highway going down to the Keys. It was a lot of fun. And while we were there, I know this is a long way to get to this point. While we were there, one day, I don't know, we had a newspaper, or there was a flyer, something. Anyways, and there was this deal for a cruise from Fort Lauderdale to the Grand Bahamas. And a hotel was included, I think food, I think it was like an all-inclusive place. It was 4 days. So we were like, heck yeah, let's do it. This is how it started. So this is just to tell you why I didn't want to cruise. So the first night was included, which was a hotel in Fort Lauderdale. A lot of Harley Davidsons parked all around. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that was the first thing we noticed. Then we got to our room, and we turned on the lights, and the floor was alive with cockroaches that all just scattered. I'd never seen that before. Not really a common thing in Canada, I guess. Whoa. So that was horrible. And then we heard this party that was going on upstairs. It was just crazy. We heard someone screaming, and it was crazy loud. And I was like, okay, well, we're not staying here. There's no way. And I booked a hotel down the road. Very nice. It was a very nice hotel. I think it was a Holiday Inn. Shout out to Holiday Inn. It was a very nice room. I went to go use the washroom before I left, and then I went to wash my hands, and the water was just so disgustingly yellow coming out of the tap. So I was like, wow, like we're so out of here. So then we get the next day, and we're very excited, and we're going on our cruise. And we didn't take a lot of stuff because the car was there. We were trusting Canadian souls and left everything in the trunk. Oh, this ship. Look at the ship. Like, here's a picture of that ship. It was bad. So it was a glorified ferry, is what I would say. It was so cheesy. There was a lounge singer, and he literally had a white suit on. He had like a white belt and white shoes, and he was singing Volare. It was like surreal. So we wandered around the casino for a while, but it was just like clouds of smoke, and had a couple beers out on patio with Walmart furniture kind of on the patio. Stuff you take camping and you don't care if you come home with it. Kind of that level. And however, when we got to the Bahamas, it was wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful resort, hotel. We loved it. Great memory. But in my mind, that was a cruise ship. So anyways, he tries to tell me let's do this. And I was like, I don't know, because of that. So I started looking at, okay, well, what would it cost to get a hotel for those 4 nights? And then what would cost food for those 4 nights? And then what would it cost for theme park tickets? Because we're not going to not be in the theme parks. So how much is that going to cost? So when we added all those things up, we said, oh, cruise. Okay, let's try it. How bad can it be? It's a Disney cruise, right? And it was incredible. Like, I was so blown away. I'm just absolutely loved it. And Charmaine and I said, oh, we're going to do this again. Like 100% guaranteed. We're doing this again. Fast forward a few years. 2015, I decided to surprise everyone with a cruise. Now, so I booked a week long on the Disney Fantasy. I was so excited because on the first cruise, once I got into the whole idea that we're on this cruise, I then, of course, ridiculously took it all up to the next level. Like Charmaine and Michelle were swimming with the dolphins in Atlantis. We went to the Atlantis Resort and we played around in their water park all day and saw all their crazy pools that they have full of whole manta rays swimming around and stuff. It was incredible. But we went over the top. And on the day we got to Castaway Cay, it was a terrible day. It was raining. It was a kind of rough seas coming in. It was just one of those bad luck kind of days. So we kind of looked at our itinerary, and Michelle and I went snorkeling, and it was raining. We didn't really care. And then Char didn't hook up with us for a while because she wasn't feeling well, and the rain and everything, but we had to do the snorkeling, and then we went to do swimming with stingrays, and this is back in 2013, and Michelle freaked totally out. She would not, when she saw those stingrays, she just lost her mind. There's no way I'm going into that water. Like, she was 8, so, give her a break. They're freaky, but I mean, obviously they didn't bother me, so I had a good time swimming around with them. But we felt very rushed, and there was a couple things that just we felt didn't go right, and we wanted to do over. And so we're back to 2015, and again, I'm going crazy on the cruise. We've booked all kinds of things, incredible dinners. We had the champagne brunch on the sea day at Remy, and it was incredible, absolutely incredible. And we ate at Palo, eating everything and drinking everything. It was back in the days when you could bring booze into your room. There's a whole story about that. I don't know if you know it, but maybe I'll do another video like this, and I'll talk about why Disney did away with allowing you to have hard liquor in your room. Anyways, I did, and I was having a ball. I was smoking cigars. I was just having a good old time. And we went to St. Martin. I rented a car, convertible. We drove around, bought a bunch of Cuban cigars and smoking them and having a great time. Great time. And, leading up to this, I was not taking good care of myself. I really wasn't. I just was like, hey, all my friends can eat whatever they want, so why can't I? So I just did, like McDonald's 3-4 days a week sometimes, or whatever I felt like. If I wanted to eat it, I just went, got it, and ate it. And that was it. And so I gained a massive amount of weight. Right here is a picture of me and Charmaine during our champagne brunch on the Disney Fantasy, and that was back in 2015. We are back now to our day at Castaway Cay. That's always the end of most of the Disney cruises, and you have this incredible day, and time does go by very, very quickly at Castaway Cay. It's an awesome place. My recommendation, find a lawn chair, find a hammock. That's it. Go eat some food. Just lay there. Look at the ship. It's incredible. I could just, so awesome. But this day was not awesome. It was not awesome at all. So one of the things that I felt gypped out of from the last time was going snorkeling just in the normal snorkeling lagoon and seeing all the different things that are down there, interesting things that Disney has placed there. A little sunken sailboat, Captain Mickey with steering wheel and stuff down underwater. And to me, the number one thing was to see one of the Nautilus submarines. This is one of the Nautiluses, and so I'm told, that was a ride vehicle back in the day at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. And that was one of my very first rides. In fact, it may have been the first ride, because I remember holding this coveted book of tickets, and this was back in the day when there was e-ticket and there was different level tickets, and it would list which rides you could choose from this one ticket. And I loved it, right? Absolutely loved it. So here I am now. I'm an adult and I'm gonna go touch it. So that's what I do, and I've snorkeled lots. In Thailand, and I've loved doing it. I've always been a breath holder, swimmer guy. That's one of my favorite kind of pastimes, is getting in a pool or getting in the ocean, going swimming. Love it. So here I am. It's like 15 feet under the water. It's like nothing. I can easily hold my breath for a minute and maybe longer underwater, right? So I dive down. I'm looking at it. It's so cool. I'm looking in the portholes. I put my hand on it a little bit to hold myself so I can just conserve my energy and stay down under the water longer. And I'm just having a great time. I'm just am. But, it's time to come up, grab a breath. So, boom, I pop up, take a breath, spit out my mouthpiece, and I've got a valve-operated snorkel. Anyways. And go to catch my breath, and then it's like I needed to cough out something, like there was something rattling in my lungs, like suddenly I had bronchitis, like instantly. And my breath was getting more and more rattly, like when you've got something really bad chest cold, bad, like almost pneumonia or something. Like it was a really terrible feeling. And it wasn't going away. It was getting worse. And that's not a good thing when you look out and you're very far out away from the beach and you're going into a medical distress situation. So the first thing I noticed was that I couldn't pretend everything was fine. So Char and Michelle both had very worried looks on their faces. And I let them know that I'm going to go get this lifeguard's help right now because there's something very serious going on. So they obviously come with me, and the lifeguard gets down and asks me what's wrong. I let him know. And at this point, it's getting worse, right? I can actually start to feel a little bit lightheaded, maybe partially because of the panic and partially because of lack of oxygen because my lungs are not functioning the way they're supposed to function, and I don't have asthma, and I've never had anything like this happen, so I'm not sure what's really going on. Like, I really don't know. So the guy gets a life jacket and puts it on me, if I recall this correctly, because I was, a bit freaked out. And so he's staying with me and talking me through it, and I'm just focusing as hard as I can on trying to breathe. Like, just breathe, get air in, don't freak out. Just, you got to get through this. You need to get, once they give you oxygen, you're going to be okay. So that's what they're doing. They're radioing. And next thing you know, there's a jet ski coming, flying out, fast as it could possibly go. And he's got this stretcher thing kind of that floats at the back that's going to skip behind. So they get there, and I don't know how they did it. It was really cool how they just scooped it up underneath me and got me up on it. And next thing I know, I was laying on my back. Dude from like the lifeguard dude jumps onto that raft and kind of straddles me and puts his arms are sort of beside my shoulders on the board, and his knees are on the board, but straddling me and just looking at me right in my face. And then they just take off, and I'm just laying there, and I'm just, again, just trying to meditate almost on just to breathe, because I'm having a really hard time, and my vision is now starting to close in. Like, I could feel myself losing consciousness, and I was struggling and fighting as hard as I could against that. And that's a terrible, terrible place to be. So they get me onto the beach, and as soon as possible, like, there's a bunch of people, of course, they're there, ready, waiting. Disney is the best. They're so incredibly good at this. Like, this shows you the difference with Disney. I'm not so sure. I mean, what would have happened if I'd been on another cruise, or if I'd been on a private excursion or something, right? So, and they take me right to the ship. Like, they don't like go to your normal place where you would normally start swimming. We're like as close to the ship as possible. They roll me out. I'm all covered in sand. They just kind of roll me on the beach, put oxygen mask on me. And very, very soon after the oxygen is on me, and I could see all of these people, I'm like, okay, well, the best that they have right now are here, and they're going to take care of me. And so I get into a wheelchair, because now that I can breathe, I'm starting to be, I'm not losing consciousness now. Still having a hard time breathing, but at least I'm not blacking out, right? Or feeling like I'm about to black out. So they get me into the part of the ship that you just don't really want to be in. There's just no good reason to be there. That is for people who are they're in big trouble medically, and you just don't want to be there, I'll tell you. But they were fantastic. They were incredibly nice, incredibly professional, kept me very calm, kept Charmaine and Michelle calm. And very soon I knew I was in good hands, so I began to calm down. They had Ventolin, some kind of like a gas, like a vapor that I was breathing with the oxygen that was, relieving this asthmatic attack or whatever this was, allergic reaction. I don't know. I know it's never happened to me again. So anyways, yeah, I was there for about 4 hours. They took very good care of me. They gave me all of the puffers and things, so I had to use a puffer for a long time after this, and go to my doctor a lot and get monitored. And out of all of that, and that close call with death, that really was the beginning of my journey to lose weight. And it's been a long one, slow, but continues to happen. I don't give up on it. So it's made a big difference. It was a big turning point in my life where I had to evaluate, do I want to keep eating burgers from McDonald's, or do I want to live? So I chose life. I also chose to choose. So that doesn't mean I can never get a Big Mac again. It just means that I need to choose every day every other day of the year. Better choices. So I can have a Big Mac once in a while, or I can go to Disney and not follow my diet. So it's worked for me so far. Let's see. I'm still losing weight right now, but that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story is, yeah, I almost died at Castaway Cay, and Disney saved my life. Thank you, Disney. Everyone, the medical department of that 2015 cruise on Disney Fantasy at Castaway Cay, that fat Canadian guy, you saved my life. Thank you. We'll see you next time from the Holy Moly. Bye-bye.